Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Welcome back to the show. We are so excited to have Kevin Freeland joining us here, the owner of Cryo Tempe, based out of Tempe, Arizona. We're talking about this amazing spa and athletic recovery studio that specializes in providing modalities that help reduce inflammation, ease the pain, and also help, really speed up that recovery from an injury. There's so much to this whole body cryotherapy, and I'm excited to learn more about it. And Kevin, we're excited to have you. How are you?
I'm very good today. Thanks for having me.
Well, thanks for being here. So first and foremost, let me tell people how they can reach you. The website's good, cryotempe.com.
That is correct.
Perfect. Any social media pages?
Yeah, we're on all social media as Cryo Tempe.
Okay, fantastic. Tell us a little bit about the company and what it is you do to start.
So we are what is known as a recovery and pain management business. So we use several different modalities to, and our baseline, we help reduce inflammation and speed the recovery of muscles, injuries. But also deal with some things on the emotional side as well, as far as anxiety and depression. We have some of that modalities that will work for that as well.
Okay, great. Well, we're going to go into specifics. I'm excited to find out more about this and all the other offerings here that you have. But first and foremost, I want to get to know you, if that's okay. Tell me where you grew up, and I want to find out just about your life and how this came about.
Well, I was born in Nebraska, but moved here to Arizona when I was fairly young. Have been
Wow.
in the Phoenix metropolitan area for the past 54 years.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, grew up here, went to high school here, went to college at the University of Arizona. Several different majors, but left with after studying microbiology. And from there, did a lot of different varied type of occupations, if you will. Always with an eye on fitness and wellness, though. That was always my hobby, if you will. Competed in a lot of different sports growing up. I was a power lifter, competitively. Also did
Oh my
competed in
goodness.
weightlifting.
Wow.
But played basketball, baseball, football, did a little gymnastics, and played tennis growing up. So I kind of had a very wide, broad base of athletic background. But also got very involved and very interested in health and nutrition when I was young. I was making my
I
own protein
read
shakes
you were
when
a
I was
personal
14.
and you were a personal trainer. I want to hear all about it.
Yeah, yeah. I ended up being kind of I was a informal, impromptu personal trainer for a lot of people, even through college. So many people would come up to me and say, "Hey, I noticed you work out. Can you help me do this?" And I started designing training programs for people even back then. Didn't start doing it professionally though until I was in my late 30s. The industry had changed at that point to where more of your more middle class people, quite frankly, were searching out trainers and made it a lot more accessible to a lot of the populace. So I actually started to go into it as a business at that time. Started out being a mobile trainer where I actually go to people's homes and using whatever we had available.
So cool.
If you had, a tall enough volunteer, we used to
Or
step
a
up on.
wall.
If
You could use a
we,
wall, right? To
yeah,
do
use a
some,
wall,
yes, you could
we
use a
would do
desk, a chair.
all that kind of
I
stuff.
could be doing sit-ups
Uh,
right now, but I'm too lazy. But it's true. You can, there's a
uh,
lot you can do around the office or the
yeah,
home.
definitely. Yeah, just to be a little bit creative, and you can have a highly varied, highly effective workout in the comfort of your own home. Or maybe, if it's effective, might not be that comfortable. But from there, I actually opened a facility in 2005. It's in the same location I am now. We've expanded to a larger suite since then. But 2005, we opened a place called Body Focus Fitness and Performance that operated for several years, actually for about 15 years, pretty successfully. And through that, I made some contacts in the media, and I did some TV and radio appearances over the years. I was actually a guest host of a web show for a while about health and fitness. Have done some other radio casts and things like that. But as we went along, it started to really get more into people, what's the other side of training? The other side of training and stressing your body is, okay, how do you recover? And myself started doing cryotherapy back in 2016 and noticed what it did for me. And I was just blown away the first time I did it. I could not believe how good it felt. And from there, they came to the idea of, okay, well, let's simply pair that with what I already do. I think we have a pretty good synergy there. Have both ends of the spectrum, having people, work out, train, perform, but then also recovery and be able to get back the next day or to whatever they do as good or even better.
Got it.
So once you start getting into that arena and start exploring all the different recovery modalities, then you become aware of everything else in the industry, and the industry has really exploded in the last 10 years. The
Well, hold on.
technology that's
I gotta
available.
stop you
Okay.
here 1 second. This is fascinating to
Okay.
help you, but let's give like our listeners and viewers, what is cryotherapy? Just break it down for us,
Okay.
because some people may not even know what
So
it is yet. And I know a little, but I don't know much. So I'm excited to learn about this.
cryotherapy actually was first created, if you will, in the late 70s by a Japanese
Hmm.
rheumatologist. Thought it would be a great way to treat his rheumatoid arthritis patients,
Okay.
which is a painful inflammatory condition. The cold exposure they thought would lower the inflammation. Turns out they were right. It's kind of stayed in that arena for quite some years after that. It wasn't until the late 90s, early 2000s where it really made an entry into the athletic field. Then it was discovered that you could recover muscularly a lot more or a lot more effectively with the cold exposure. And the idea behind the cold exposure is not a lot of people think is to get not just to get you cold. The cryotherapy cold is actually used as a trigger. The
Yeah.
trigger is that when your skin temperature drops by 25 or 40 degrees,
Okay.
your body starts making some compensatory reactions, which is to speed up your metabolism, but also release norepinephrine into your system. That
Yeah.
norepinephrine is actually highly inflammatory and highly anti-inflammatory, and also speeds up the recovery process. They've also found
Wow.
that it actually increases performance. Not only does it help you recover, but when you get back to performing, you'll actually stronger, faster, better endurance.
Mm.
Um, that process is also found to increase melatonin production, which now we
Ooh.
have a lot of people that will access it just for the sleep benefits. Not
Ah.
athletes of any kind, but they just want to sleep better. The melatonin production goes up significantly, and people always will report, "I slept like a baby."
Baby.
They do they do their cryotherapy sessions. Um, in addition, your body will also balance out its serotonin levels. So a lot of the things that will help you survive a stressful situation are activated by the cold exposure.
Hmm.
And so it's not just an athletic recovery where it gets most of its attention is from that, but it really is just a holistic whole life as far as wellness and betterment type of treatment.
Wow. Okay, this is fascinating. And by the way, you mentioned youth as well. So, teenagers,
Mhm.
adults who can benefit from this, and what age
So
to start cryotherapy?
people of all ages. Now, a lot of it, a lot of the application, as far as age goes, varies from state by state. In the state of Arizona, where we are, 14 is a lower limit, and that's pretty much established by insurance carriers. There are some places where you can do it as young as 10. I'm a proponent for having it be assessed by body weight, maybe even BMI, to see because it's a body mass you worry about. Somebody's too small, too
Yeah.
young, then you might affect core temperature, and you don't want to go down that road. But if anybody 14 and over can engage in it. And I've had people as old as I think my oldest cryo patient has been 88 years old. So
Wow.
yeah, and she actually walked in with a cane and walked out not using her cane after her single cryo session.
Oh my
It
goodness.
can be that impactful.
Oh, wow. Okay, hold on. So, the science behind this, right? Could you just
Hmm.
share? Because you mentioned the cellular health, the circulation, and
Yes,
what is the science behind this, and who discovered this and the benefits of it? Just curious, because I feel like it's such a new age type thing. I only heard about it about
it
10
is.
years ago when I lived in a place called Whitestone in New York, and they
Mhm.
actually put one of the cryo the booths. I don't know what I even call them, and I tried it. I was like, whoa, fascinated, but I really didn't know much about it, but I keep hearing
Yeah.
more and more.
So the two things. So the different types of cryotherapy application. There are the like you mentioned the booth. So that's a walk-in room those are electric cooled. You're surrounded by cold air in a closed room, and that you would be in there for those in 3 to 6 minutes. The one we have is cooled with liquid nitrogen vapor. So that vapor is super cold. It's actually minus 320 degrees, and the storage device enters the chamber at about minus 280, and then our machine is regulated to
Wow.
between minus 220 and 230. So what they have discovered, though, is that with that cold exposure, your sympathetic nervous system, parasympathetic nervous system gets stimulated. And as I mentioned before, the fight or flight response, whatever happens when you're in a stressful
Yeah.
situation, the things that your body thinks it needs to do to survive, those things get activated. But when it's activated in more benign conditions, then all of these positive health markers start kicking into place. Some of the ones I did mention before are increased white cell count. So your immune system is actually be more effective. Collagen in the skin, your body will produce more collagen as a result of the cold exposure. And
Okay.
again, with the other things, the blood circulation. So when your body gets cold, you go through what's called vasoconstriction. So your blood vessels will constrict, but during that constricted period, your body's also pulling blood from the extremities into the internal and into the core to try to warm it up. During that process, it actually gets super oxygenated. So when your body warms up again, the cardiovascular system dilates, larger blood vessels enlarge. Now that oxygenated blood is now being circulated through your body at a higher rate, along with the norepinephrine that has been produced as a result of the cold exposure. So now you get higher level of oxygen in your blood. You've got the norepinephrine going to your system, which is it's very elevating, very energizing. And so when you get out of a cryotherapy session, I always say, I feel like a superhero when I step out. I feel like I'm ready to run, jump, you can go further. And they have studies that show that if you do, say if you go out and do a cryo session and then go run, you will have better endurance. You'll run faster. You can run longer. It is really just a total system elevation.
Amazing. Kevin Freeland joining us here again, based out of Tempe, Arizona. Cryotempe.com is the website, CRYOTEMPE.com. Are you also on social media as well?
Yes, yeah, we're on Instagram, we're on Twitter, and we're on Facebook, all as at Cryotempe.
And offering those discounts to veterans and first responders. Such a sweet guy. So
Yeah.
taking care of the body, you say it's the only place you have to live. I love it. And there's some great client testimonials. Can I share a few about what they're saying about you and your company?
Definitely.
This person, Justin, says, my wife and I go weekly for cryo and compression. My shoulders have bothered me for 20 years, and my job as an auto technician combined with jiu-jitsu and heavy lifting in the gym keeps my pain level at around a 6 or 7. So my question to you is, what's the compression aspect of this before I talk about more testimonials?
Okay, so compression it's another modality we have that is very similar to a deep tissue massage. What it involves is sliding pneumatic sleeves over the limbs. The legs are the primary ones we do because that is where the largest arteries in the body are.
Okay.
And then it's hooked up to a device made by a company called Normatec. And the device will start inflating the sleeve at the foot and work its way up to the hip. It'll inflate, squeeze, and release. Every time it does that, the blood vessels open up just a little bit more and a little bit more. And what happens then is they have, again, higher circulation of blood going through the body, through the legs. So if you are a runner or a cyclist, somebody spends a lot of time on your feet, it's an amazing feeling when you get out. The muscles are relaxed, higher level of circulation. So you are giving yourself just a boost. And greater circulation means greater healing, greater recovery in every part of your body. So the Normatec sleeves, the compression, enhance that ability. Now, one thing that happens in our society, almost everybody sits for a living. And what happens is your lymphatic system, as a result, kind of doesn't operate as optimally as it should. The Normatec sleeves, the compression sleeves, will get that lymphatic system moving. Lymphatic system is how you rid yourself and your body of the daily breakdown toxins, the gunk that built up our system just by daily life. It gets flushed out by the lymphatic system, but if it's not working optimally, then what do you have? You have a buildup of garbage in your system, basically. The compression sleeves will help your body flush that stuff in.
Oh my goodness.
Another benefit of those too, say if you're training intensely, doing it afterwards also, not only will you recover more quickly, but it also help with the fat loss process as well, because fat is eliminated again as it's broken down, released into the bloodstream, and it can be flushed out through the lymphatic system. If it's working more efficiently, then you will flush that out more efficiently as well.
Got it.
So, and the Normatec can be done for the entire body. We have a hip attachment and an upper body attachment, so you can go in the whole thing. You look like you're kind of in an inflatable spacesuit, but just for the full body effect.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Well, let me also ask you about, let alone the cryotherapy, there's also red light therapy. There's someone here talking about, I don't know what I'd do without this place. Helen R. I researched a bit online about the health benefits of cryo and red light therapy, decided to give it a try. During my first visit, they took the time to go over my health concerns and explain the various therapies. I'm amazed with the results. Thank you. Cryo Tempe is the best.
So red light therapy, cryotherapy is our marquee service. It is the high tech. It is the one that kind of sparks the most curiosity and wonder in people. Red light therapy, though, I honestly believe it's one of the most effective things we have. So this is another one that was just kind of stumbled across by accident. A lot of it is based on NASA research.
Yeah.
Red light. So they were using red light to stimulate plant growth during an experiment on the ISS, International Space Station. What they had noticed during this is that the cut on a hand of one of the workers was healing more rapidly than they should have expected. He was working underneath the red light most of the day. So that kind of branched off into other research, and they found that cellular structures do respond and are stimulated by different ways with the red light, and respond by a higher level of cellular activity, which could lead to healing if you have an injury. So they've narrowed it down to a range of wavelengths that are really effective. So red light therapy is You expose yourself to these wavelengths for anywhere from 5 to 20 minutes, depending on the light setup you have and what issue you're
Wow.
dealing with. And you literally can make your body heal more quickly, can also be, in essence, can make you younger at a cellular level. So
Wow.
I will give you an example for me. So when I turned 50, I had to start wearing reading glasses like a lot of people do. About 5 years after that, we acquired our red light therapy device, and I was doing it pretty frequently because we had it right here in the facility. One thing I noticed several months later, I go to look at my computer, I'm typing away, and I go to adjust my glasses, and I don't have them on. I could see. So what they have found is that you can actually recover about 25% of your age-related vision loss by doing regular red light therapy. It's not harmful to the eyes at all because there's none of what they call ionizing radiation. It's not UV.
I
It
just heard
is
about this on the news the other
yeah,
day for the
yeah,
eyes. I'm like, wait, you're
yep,
telling me, okay, hold on. How does
yeah.
it work? What type of laser is it? Is it in a hand? Is it like a
So
machine?
we have LED panels. There are several different types. There's handheld devices. There are what they call low-level lasers, which are for pinpoint treatments, and those are used
Wow.
usually more in a medical setting. But we have our LED panels, and
Okay.
they are varying sizes. We have a room that has them on both sides, so you can get your entire body. We also have
Okay.
smaller devices where we can target an area. What the theory behind it is that the red light will interact with the mitochondria in the cell. The mitochondria is stimulated or to
Wow.
either repair or move to a higher energy level. So if you're using energy a lot more efficiently, which your cellular energy is ATP. If you have
Wow.
greater access to ATP, then you have greater activity in the cell. And you're talking about better health, better function, better repair all across the board. And they have found in many cases it can reduce wrinkles by rejuvenating skin. As I mentioned, better eyesight, better performance. There was actually a conference among the one of the World Sporting Organizations that governs performance enhancing drugs. They discussed whether they should actually start regulating the use of red light therapy because of its effect could be on performance. And they decided, since it's a natural effect, that they're not going to try to regulate it or ban it. But for athletes that use it, they definitely have an advantage as far
Wow.
as recovery and as far as power output, endurance, and being able to perform at a much higher level. But it
Amazing.
is. I always tell people that's the favorite thing I have. The thing I think that's done the most for me, I would say, in overall health would be the red light therapy.
Amazing. I know we were going to discuss all the other modalities you offer, but clearly this is one of them. Amazing. And then
Yeah.
there's also the
Yes.
infrared sauna and
Yep.
Himalayan salt therapy, massage. And we have only a few minutes left, but let's continue. Go ahead.
Okay, well, so infrared sauna is, in essence, its technology is very similar to the red light therapy. It has been around. It has been around a little bit longer. It again emits wavelengths of light. Now they're just a non-visible light. So if you were sitting in infrared sauna, you don't see light. People hear the word
Oh,
infrared and they expect there to
yeah,
be red light in there,
that's what I
but it's
think.
non-visible
Flashing
light.
at me.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, it is light. It is light that is outside of our visual
Okay.
spectrum. But it does penetrate into the body, and similar like the red light therapy will stimulate the mitochondria in the cells, but it also, because of the heat involved, the cardiovascular benefits and the detox benefits are enormous. So a couple of things I have noticed, and we get all go in and get a good sweat on. We think, okay, we're getting all this garbage out of our system, we're detoxing. They have measured the heavy metal content of sweat that people get from a infrared sauna compared to exercise in a traditional sauna, and the heavy metal content is 25% higher in the sweat from an infrared sauna than it is from any other source. So you're moving a significant more amount of metals out of your body and toxins out of your body through an infrared sauna.
Wow.
Infrared saunas are also for health, as far as health benefits. For people that have done them regularly, and long-term studies have backed this up, there is a 44% reduction in strokes and Alzheimer's and dementia among people who do it regularly. Heart attacks as well are 60% less. So the
Wow.
health benefits are massively impactful. It's one of those things that I wish a lot more people would access, because you look around, and those are some of the issues that we see very prominently. They seem to be even accelerating in society, and they can be addressed just by something simple like sitting in a hot box and
Yeah.
absorbing the infrared light. And and it takes a 30-minute session 2 to 3 times a week to get those benefits.
Wow. Amazing. This is fascinating. I'm so excited to hear more. I gotta come visit you. Right.
Anytime.
Yeah, this is awesome stuff. My goodness. And I'm also checking out your social media pages as well. Let's also focus. We only have 2 minutes left in the show, so I have to kind of wrap
Okay.
it up. But there's
All right.
still so much more that you have to offer. So let me just ask you for our last 2 minutes, what did you want to end off with for today? And I hope we get to, do we have another show coming up?
I hope so. Nothing scheduled, but
Okay, good, good, good.
it could be in the
I was
works.
going to say, because next time
Um,
we could show some of the your pictures, some of the facilities. We share your screen if you want for the next Zoom, if we do one. So
yeah.
let me know.
Okay. Um, as I guess as a parting thought, I see so many people struggling with their health, and we started this part of the business right before the pandemic. And what we found is so many people now since then have been focusing on how can I, in a more natural way, be healthy? How can I take care of myself? How can I avoid getting sick? And I think the opioid crisis had a lot to do with this as well. People are just looking at what are the more natural ways I have, or do I have access to just live a better, healthy life? There
Yeah.
are so many things out there for people to access now, and I think the thing holds them back, like the cryotherapy. What the biggest roadblock I see is fear. It is, people, it is so cold. It's minus 220 degrees. How can I possibly do that? And I would say just don't let the fear of making a change hold you back. Your life can be so much. You can enjoy your life at a such higher
Yeah.
level than living in pain,
Got it.
living in, or living with depression even, and living with anxiety, or living with poor sleep.
Thank you. Well,
A few simple steps can be taken to avoid all of that situation.
I apologize. We're out of time, so we have
And
to
I'm
run. I
sorry.
know we got a late start today, but
Okay.
hopefully we'll have more time next time. Cryotempe.com. Reach
Okay.
out. Kevin Freeland, thank you for being here and looking forward to the next time we connect. You have a great day,
Hey,
okay?
Jill. Thank you very much. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.
Bye-bye.
All right.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house.
And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.